Do you struggle with science? Do you find it a smart people subject? Do you think a grade 9 is impossible to reach? Well, you're in luck, because in this video I'll give you absolutely all the tips you need to ace your GCSE Science exams. And trust me, it's much more simple than you think. And if you follow my advice properly, you'll thank me later on results day. But of course, people are pretty pessimistic nowadays, so they don't believe anything about proof. So I'll briefly dive into my GCSE Science journey. I promise I'll keep it short. So you see, I went to a non-selective state school, so there was a massive gap in my class between smart and struggling pupils. The smart guys were either science geniuses or people with extraordinary memory. Unfortunately, I was neither, so the lack of support in my school made it quite difficult for me to cover that distance. However, I did end up getting a grade 9 across all three of the sciences, so fear not, because with the advice I'm going to share in this video, you're going to absolutely smash your exams. Now you might think I'm being too optimistic, but believe me when I say this, science is one of the most predictable GCSEs, so if you know your stuff, there's an extremely low chance of you failing to get that grade 9. Right, now that the showing off section is complete, I'll now get on with the first tip, flashcards. Not enough people use these, and it genuinely concerns me. I don't know whether people have extreme trust on their brain capacity or are just too overconfident, but flashcards are essential. Neglecting these means neglecting a grade 9. Of course, if you have a photographic memory and are in the top 0.01% of the population or whatever, this won't apply to you. But if you've clicked on this video, I'm guessing like me, you aren't gifted with an extraordinary natural learning ability. And also, when talking about flashcards, teachers often tell you to make it only on topics you're unsure about. But I disagree. I think you should make flashcards on everything. The reason being that your mind constantly recycles information, so if you decide to ignore a confident topic for a while, it will come back to bite you in the future. First, I would strongly recommend making flashcards your textbook, essentially. Also, this must also include the required practicals, because you'll be surprised at how many marks that will cost you. By all this, I mean make hundreds of flashcards, but that doesn't mean revise hundreds a day. That would be crazy. That means putting your flashcards on a website like Anki, which does spaced repetition based on how well you know each question. So essentially, a piece of information you know inside out will be tested less often but won't be ignored, which is equally as crucial as filling current gaps. And trust me, once you do this consistently, you only have around 20 flashcards per day to do, due to how scheduling works on Anki. Obviously, you could use other apps, but personally, I don't trust my judgment in terms of confidence on each flashcard, so Anki makes it much easier for me. And I think for science it is the best app out there, but if you strongly hate it, you can use something else. Next up, I want you to memorize the mark scheme. Why, you ask? Well, because the mark scheme is literally what the examiners use to mark your paper. So if you know what it wants, the examiners will give you, that's right, more marks. This sounds very basic, but many students go on this repetitive cycle of doing past papers, totaling their marks, writing down grade and moving on. What's the point of that? If you can't find your mistakes and see what the exam board actually wants from you, there is no use in that revision session. You may as well be playing on your PlayStation at that point. Well, maybe that was a stretch, but you know what I mean. GCSE Science is very picky with the terminology. Key vocab is everything. Although your flashcards will be ingrained into your brain, each question will emphasize some words over others. The best example I can give you is during my mock exam. I remember for one particular 2-mark question, I wrote 2 whole paragraphs, but on the other hand, my friend literally wrote 1 sentence. He got 2 marks. Guess how many I got? That's right, 0. So this should give you something very important. You need to memorize key bits of the mark scheme, which will give you a significant leverage in the exams. And this won't be achieved from just reading the textbook or your notes. The final tip I'm going to give might seem very vague, but stay with me for a minute. Don't trust your peers. What I mean by this is that in science, there will be a lot of students in your class who you assume will always be right and 10 steps ahead of you. This feeling is natural and also quite inevitable, especially in a subject where fancy vocabulary makes you sound very smart. But it's very important that you don't let this intimidate you, because both the biggest strength and the biggest weakness of GCSE Science is that it rewards repetition. As I mentioned in the intro, if you memorize your content and practice repeatedly, even those with a natural aptitude in science simply can't beat you. That is a fact. So never see yourself as inferior to any of your friends in class. This was exactly how I felt during my GCSEs, when my smart friends were bragging post-exam about every question being very easy. But in the end, out of my 10 friends, only me and one other person got a grade 9. What I realised on results day was that they kept talking about questions they excelled in rather than the ones they did badly in. This, my friends, is human nature. So don't let this spring insecurities in you. You are much better and much further than you think. So although this motivating might seem strange at first, trust me, this mindset is crucial to staying calm throughout your GCSE science journey, which is essentially what separates a grade 5 student from a grade 9 student. And that's it. Believe it or not, those 3 tips are all you need to ace GCSE Science. Make flashcards on Anki, revise them every day for just 10 minutes consistently, repeatedly do past paper questions, and memorize bits of the mark scheme you keep missing every time. Pair this with a confident mindset and you will for a fact excel at your exams. There's no doubt about it. Thanks a lot for watching this. Please make sure to absolutely smash that like button. If you haven't already, consider subscribing. It truly does mean a lot to me, and I'll see you all next time.